Hold on to your butts.
My American.
I've been tracking Sasquatches for 25 years.
My American.
Global awakening to the New World Order.
My American.
Artificial intelligence android.
My American.
Do you believe in UFOs?
Yes, sir. Extraterrestrial.
You're listening to Pardon My American.
Oh, hey, friends.
What is up, everybody? May the 4th be with you.
A little late. We're close, though. It was yesterday, right? Taste the 5th, man.
Oh, is it? Well, whatever.
I would know, Chris. I would know.
Still,
happy late May the 4th be with you. You know what I mean?
isn't there a saying for the 5th, or no?
I don't know what that would be.
I thought there was.
I don't know.
Well, my bad.
I mean,
Whatever.
I'm a Star Wars guy, so I woke up yesterday like, yeah.
My days are all fucked up.
I know.
This weekend went by so fast. I'm like,
Don't know.
and my work schedule's changing. So I'm like, what the fuck's happening?
That's true. As you noticed, Greg is not here today.
Yeah, Greg's not here.
Sorry to bum you out.
He's working on a dishwasher.
Apparently, he had a catastrophic failure. I don't know if that's true, but
Well,
a failure of the dishwasher.
Is there any other kind of failure with the dishwasher?
I feel like the dishwasher is not really one to fail a lot. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like, of all your appliances, I feel like that one's not really one that fucks up that much.
I feel like usually when it does fuck up, it's time for a new one.
Yeah, I think you just scrap that shit.
Yeah.
It's not like other appliances. They're not like the most expensive thing, you know?
No, a couple $100. You can get a new one.
Either way, he's got to fix this thing because what are they going to do without it? You know what I'm saying? I think that's what it comes down to. Got to get it right. Hopefully it didn't flood or anything.
Knowing him, it started spraying water everywhere.
Yeah, it could have happened, dude.
Because that happens at his house for some reason.
Could have happened. Yeah, happy Monday, guys. It is Monday, right? Happy Monday.
It is Monday.
Happy Monday. Long weekend for me too, man. It's just been a long week, you know? But here we are, starting a fresh week. Hopefully better than last. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm actually getting irritated with the weather we've been having. Because every time I go to try to reseed my lawn, it's just pouring down fucking rain.
Yeah, you should have stopped for a while. I think you
I didn't seed. I almost
okay,
did.
okay.
I almost did today.
Chris planted this beautiful seed. You got your yard all level.
It's so beautiful.
Beautiful seed. So
It's patchy.
The green and well, and then we of course finally, you throw the seed out and it's kind of like a rain call.
Yeah.
And as soon as you lay it out there, within 2 days, it's pissing out and it's
Washed a lot of it away. Yeah.
that's how it works, man.
It is how it works.
But we'll have some not rain weather, but it's raining. It's raining right now.
I know. It's been raining for a few hours.
I don't mind though. I don't mind at all. I like it because we're gonna get hot. So I'm gonna soak all
I'm
this
not
in.
worried about that.
I'm gonna soak it in.
Also,
right now.
I had to buy a new fucking pump for my pool.
That sucks.
$550 later. I went to start it up.
bummer.
It's fucking getting that time to fire it up and clean the pool and to flip that switch to get it going, and it smoke started rolling out of it. Like, nice.
Damn. Well,
One thing after another, dude. One thing.
that's
after
life. You know what I mean? That's just life. Right when you feel comfortable, they hit you in the nuts, dude. You know what I mean?
Another. Yeah. It's just one more thing.
As far as the news, I thought something. We got a couple things we maybe chat about. We'll see how it takes us. But I did want to talk about Canada, obviously. Okay. I want to talk about what's his name? Carney.
Carnivore.
Carney.
Carnivore.
Mark Carney. Yeah, the new Canadian Prime Minister. You know this guy won by 86%, supposedly. 86%.
Wasn't he running as like the conservative style person?
No, he's the one that was
I thought
picked
the
by
other guy
Trudeau.
was like leading
I
for
don't know.
a while. I thought
I don't
like
know.
all the polls were showing this one.
Is Flex in this
the
joint?
conservative guy was leading.
I don't know if Flex is in here, but either way, yeah. I mean, Flex, our Canadian friend, he might be able to let us know. But no, he won by 86% from what I hear. 86%, which is crazy because, listen, I'm not deep diving on this dude. I don't care that much. It's Canada. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I do care, but not that much. But apparently, well, Trudeau picked him or helped pick him. So that should say a lot, right? You really wanted Trudeau out but then all of a sudden you bring in this guy, you know, is probably more
Yeah, he's
liberal.
he's an ex-banker guy, right?
Yeah, but I guess he has 3 passports. Like he's citizens of like England and somewhere else, Ireland. And past interviews, I did look this up. In some of the past interviews, he claims himself as a European, which is interesting that you're the Canadian Prime Minister, but you classify yourself as European. Interesting, you know.
Well, I mean, they're all ruled by the Queen.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
well,
all, it's all the same
sorta.
shit.
But so he, from my understanding, and again, I don't follow this stuff too much, but from my understanding, you know, he came out and obviously the conservative guy. They have those Canadian names. I'm not even gonna try, dude. I'm not even gonna try to figure it out. But they had that one guy that you're talking about who was kind of like out there, and we heard a lot about him, and he was, you know, he's the conservative.
He was
party
polling
guy.
well for a while. He was
Supposedly.
like leading everything. And
Supposedly.
but that was like, I feel like that was like what 6 months ago.
You know, was he really leading? I don't know. But here's the thing, though. Apparently, this guy, when he was running, he never even. It was kind of like a Kamala Harris thing, dude. He never really told anybody what he wanted to do. You know what I mean? He just said, you know, I'm gonna continue on the. He didn't really give any plans. You know what I'm saying? Remember, Kamala never really said any policy.
Yeah.
She just kind of was like, I'm not Trump, you know. And I think he was kind of doing the whole like, I'm not fucking the conservative
Trudeau
guy.
picked me.
There you go.
There you go.
But he did come out. He did come out the other day, and he laid down some stuff, and yeah.
Well, like, so he won the election,
Apparently, 86%. That's what they say.
and now he's putting out what he's going to do.
Now he's talking about the stuff he wants to do, and now there's like, you know, Canadians that are like, what? Hey, whoa, slow your roll. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, so what I gather is that this is a very green man. You know what I'm saying? He's a Green New Deal kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? He's you know, for, you know, kind of to put words together, he was basically saying, you know, something to the effect of like every financial decision we make will be based off how green it is. And we know how that
That's not a
goes.
smart move.
No, we know how that goes, man, right?
But you
like,
already know that's not a smart move.
well, he thinks it's really smart. You know, that's what I'm saying. And people,
How's that working for
and
Germany?
86% of Canadians voted for him.
How's that working for Germany right now? They're in
Well-
the fucking shitter.
I'm just saying. I think that we're gonna play the video. I want to, because you guys haven't even listened to it, right?
I haven't listened to it. No.
And listen, you know, for me, there's things that when you hear it, you know, and many of you probably have heard it.
Oh, Matt Gold says Pierre Polive.
Yeah.
That was a conservative guy, right?
I don't. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Carbon tax Carney. This guy is really pushing the green thing, man. And you know, I think for a country who's seemingly with Canada is teetering on like losing control, you know what I'm saying, in a lot of ways, right? Like they're the taxes and the other things that are really problematic that people were complaining about, which is why the fucking Trudeau kind of left. You know what I'm saying? People pushed him out. I mean, they really didn't want him there. Yet you bring somebody that's almost probably could be worse. It really could be worse. You know what I mean? So let's play the video because I want to get right into this video. Before I do, I'm going to crack this. That's old zero sugar.
DP.
Old zero sugar DP.
Which one is it? This one?
Play the first one.
This one here?
Yeah, play that one. Oh, no. Don't play this one. Sorry.
Okay.
Play the other one. We'll play that one in a minute. That was...
Effective.
All right, so here this is it. Now, I will say this. I want to preface this.
Okay.
When I watched this video, I was like, this seems like fake for some reason. It doesn't seem real. But I did watch it on many other platforms, so it's real. But it just looks like his mouth's not moving. So I don't know if the timing's off with the voice whoever posted this.
Okay.
But yeah, check it out.
Effective June the 1st, all vehicles manufactured before 2000 will be gradually phased off. Canadian roads, due to safety and emission standards, non-compliant window tints, including rear windows, are now prohibited. Drivers will have a 14-day grace period to install approved replacements. Lifts and/or levels on trucks must be taken off. For not only the owner's safety, but for the people around, it doesn't make sense to have a truck jacked in the air. These will be taken very seriously. Effective June the 1st.
What?
Okay.
You have to unlift your truck for safety.
Yeah, man. You don't listen.
What's unsafe about it?
I don't know. I think the big one for me is if this is all true, right? If this is really what's going to...
It does look weird, though.
It does look weird, right?
It looks like they almost like mismatched the timing, but sped it up a little. Like, does he actually talk that fast?
Look it up. Just look up Carney, green plans or Carney cars or something. You know what I mean? Something like that. See if there's another version of it.
Let's see here.
Is that it right there? What's that one? What's it say there?
I'm just focused on creating a framework for private companies to. It's something else.
Okay.
Either way.
Either way.
You already looked up and said he said.
I've seen many videos of it. So listen, if it's wrong, you let me know. But what I think is interesting, like, and this is where the Green New Deal is problematic. Okay. Yeah. If it's true that he wants to eliminate cars that are older than, I think you said 2000.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That's a problem. Because a lot of people can't afford newer vehicles. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that are driving. Let's just talk about the economic part of it. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say, like, there's lower income people that are driving older cars, maybe cars that aren't, considered safe or as safe. You know what I'm saying? We have a state here in Texas, obviously, where you have to do emissions testing, which they're trying to get rid of some of that. But
well, yeah, and you have to do emissions, but also inspections.
Inspections,
to make sure, like, your car.
I should have said inspections. Yeah. Yes, inspections. And that, which is good in some aspects. I mean, there's safety things for it. That's good. But even like a newer car can have like a engine light that comes on, and you won't pass an inspection if you have an engine light on, right? So an older vehicle, that's problematic. Now, if somebody doesn't have a lot of money, they can't afford to fix these things. Mm-hmm. What are they supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? What are they supposed to do if they say we're going to phase out all vehicles previous to 2000? How does that work? How many cars when you drive around, do you see that are older than 2000?
A lot.
There's quite a few. I mean, there's quite a few, and especially depending on what neighborhood you're in, right? What community you're in, it could be a lot more. It could be the majority of cars.
Yeah, at least the ones on the road, I guess. Would that make the classic car culture? Would that make the cars worth even more in Canada? Because now they're like.
See, I didn't even want to touch on that. That's why I take offense to this thing.
Because now you can't have like an '86 Bronco anymore. You can't roll around in your '57 fucking Bel Air.
Well,
unless they have some kind of grandfathering. But then he said they're going to eliminate all cars before 2000, so that means all cars, right? They won't be able to be driven on the roadways.
Well, I don't know. And that's the one thing is this is obviously like a early kind of thing from what I understand. Here, I'm gonna pull this article up. My thing is like, are they gonna say you can't have them? Like they have to be destroyed? Or are you saying that you're not gonna be able to license them or like register them? I should say.
I don't know. It's weird that he used eliminate as
phase out.
Did he say phase out? I thought he said eliminate.
He said we're going to slowly phase out, at least in this.
All vehicles manufactured before 2000 will be gradually phased off.
Oh, phased off. It'll be phased off, not phased out or eliminated. It'll be phased off.
And this video does look weird. I will say that, but I've seen many people talking about it. So if it's fake, please let me know. But we've heard this before. We've heard this with the semi trucks in the United States, where in California they want to say you couldn't have semi trucks that were not electric.
There's actually going to be a fleet of semi trucks driving around the Houston area come this summer, I think, where it's a driverless delivery semis.
Listen, man, I'm all about it if it's good. You know what I'm saying? It should not be mandated. If a company comes out with something that's so good that everybody wants it because it's so effective and it really
then
is,
everybody's going to get it.
And they're going to buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the market. The whole like force, like everybody has to have electric cars or gas powered cars or not. You're forcing it. That's not right, man. Yeah. That's not right. Cause it's not like Tesla. There's probably a lot of great things about Tesla, but there's faults to it as well. You know what I'm saying? There's faults to it as well.
Well, not everybody likes that kind of shit.
Yeah, and then you're also limiting it's like unifying us. We all have to wear the same clothes. Pretty soon they're going to say, you can't have clothing with logos on it, right? You can't, like, it has to. I'm just saying, it gets to this weird, like, utopian style kind of dread. What was that? Dread? Judge Dredd?
Oh, yeah.
Where
Judge
it's like
Dredd.
everybody's wearing shit that's similar, and it's like the cars all have to be this. It already happens a little bit, right? You go to the car lot, any car lot, what you're seeing is like white, gray, and black. You know what I mean? And then
a lot of it.
sprinkled red and maybe a couple blue, but it's
And
mostly
most of the time you have to, like, they have it somewhere, but you gotta order it, and there's not really that on the lot. It's like a bunch of just.
Somebody brought that shit
fleet
up.
Cars.
When you look at the 70s and like the Beetle era and like the classic cars, you had your Mopars with the plum crazy and the fucking yellows and the
Plum crazy purple.
plum crazy, and all the Volkswagens had these radical colors. And when you look at the life in the 70s, you see photos of vehicles and shit, and you just see this like uniqueness all over the place, man, colors and all these things. And then you look at now, and it's like just drive, and you're like, damn, there really is a lot of like black, gray, and white, and it's weird. There's like no character at all in these cars. And I feel like by doing this, you're cutting out the character even more, because you're going to be limited to, say there's only electric cars, and how many of them actually produce, and they're ugly. Most of them are ugly. So you get like 4 or 5 options, 6 or 7 options. It has to be one of these.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of the game plan, isn't it? Like, if you look at like all these fucking dystopian fucking movies and stories and stuff, and in the future, everyone has the same vehicle, everyone has the same clothes, everyone has the same house. Like, everything is cookie cutter, everyone is exactly the same, so there's no reason for anyone to be fighting over anything. And they're all kind of like here, waiting in line for your food. Like, everyone has their place, and this is how it is, and there's no other way about it.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's very, like, that direction is leaning dystopian.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I thought in Canada they were kind of being mindful and, like, coming out of this and, like, leaning the other way, especially after COVID and after all that shit. And like we mentioned before, that other guy, the Pierre guy, was leading in polls, supposedly.
I don't know if he was. That's the thing, is like I'm curious if he was actually leading.
From what I remember, he was. And for someone like this, like a central banker, to come out and win by 85% of the vote, that's nuts.
There gets to a point where I have to wonder if Canada's not just fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, we always say, like, everything can be fixed, and through like people learning more and opening their mind up more to things and exploring and the internet and having conversation, that it could like allow people to be more informed. But then there's stuff like this that happens, and I'm just like, it makes me like, it shakes my confidence in everything, really, because we all think that now obviously Trump won, and that was a statement piece to what had happened to us. But it also worries me, because if something happens again, like, how quick are they going to fall off the train and immediately go back to like what's comfortable? And what's comfortable for a lot of people, unfortunately, is following in footstep what they're supposed to do, because it's hard.
It doesn't make any sense to me that Trudeau by the Canadian people was hated, right?
Yeah.
Especially after all the bullshit that happened. He stepped down, or he left, or whatever the fuck happened. He picks, I want this guy to take my place.
Yeah.
And they vote that fucking guy in, the guy that he picks? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
Like, why would you be so against Trudeau and then also be for the guy he wants in there?
Well, it makes me wonder if the loudest voices were the ones that were anti-Trudeau, which obviously he must have had enough support to be removed, you know what I'm saying, or to feel like he needed to leave. But like, listen, you can we've seen this in blue states, right, where the governor or whoever is just so bad, and even Democrats are against that person, but then they go right back to voting.
Yeah.
Look at California. I mean, like, it's so bad. And even if Gavin Newsom was to be removed for whatever reason, they would probably turn around and still vote for somebody from that party. Because it's like, well, I mean, he's the bad apple, but the rest of them, you know what I'm saying? Like, does it get to a point where they're just lost? Or like, we're just lost? Like, does it get to a point where that's the case? Like, where Canada is just, we have to take it for what it is. It's a very, like, liberal country who is weak and willing to be butt fucked by their government constantly. Is that possible?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because we know people from Canada and they're not that way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I've heard the theory that the whole 51st state thing flipped Canadians the other way. Like, they were heading more conservative, and then Trump saying, well, you just become the 51st state. And they're like, oh, we don't want to do that, so we're not going to vote this way.
Maybe.
I don't think that would have swayed it that much.
No, I don't either. And there's some... Listen, I want to read in more on the Carney guy. Everything I've seen, there's things that have popped up that I'm
if I was Canadian, just off that
about.
soundbite, I'm not voting for you.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. I want to actually watch it in entirety. I've watched many clips of that, but I don't know. With modern shit, you don't know.
I want to be able to buy my dream car.
I know, but I'm saying I want to make sure that it's not fake. You know what I'm saying?
I need that 66 Lincoln.
Yeah. I want that too. I want my Impala back. I want, classic. I just want classic, just classic, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some sweet shit from the 90s.
I'm sure that you'll still be able to have those. They just, I'm assuming that's meaning that they won't be like allowed to be everyday drivers or something. You'll have to have some kind of special driving permit to go or something. Who knows?
Well, he one of the theories that I thought was interesting, and I haven't looked into it enough to really know too much, but one thing I thought was interesting is apparently Trump wasn't a big fan of that other guy, the Pierre or whoever the fuck that one dude.
Oh. And
he has made comments that like he feels like he could get more done with a liberal Canadian prime minister. And the people are like, well, why would he want that? Well, here's the theory that I think is interesting is that if it's true that he wants to actually take over Canada, or let's not go that big. Let's say
I don't think he actually does. I think it was a strategic fucking
maybe
bargaining move to put him in a corner.
Maybe he's not really looking at Canada, but maybe he's looking at like Alberta. Who's they were just talking today. I can't remember what her name is, the Canadian, where they were saying they can actually take a vote to be a sovereign nation or even join another. So maybe he's thinking that he could take areas and maybe that's possible. I don't know. But he was what somebody said I thought was funny, which is partly true, is that by having a liberal prime minister, especially one that could be possibly more radical than even Trudeau was, that the country will go into such shambles, right? That the trade war, they're not going to win a trade war with us, that the citizens are going to be more upset and more fractured than ever, that the taxes are going to literally destroy the middle of the road, middle class citizens, and he would be able to swoop in, or America would be able to swoop in and save the day and allow them to actually take areas that they wanted to take them, because it would just be so bad. And we know that's true. We know that's true to an extent where if things get bad here, people are willing to jump ship, which is crazy. It's America, but they do, right? Well, if he's voting, I'm leaving, or, maybe I consider something else.
That's only fucking movie stars that do that.
Well, no, there are people. There's people that moved. I've watched some videos, and there's one lady that moved to Africa, and she made a video and was like, I want to move back. I'd rather deal with racism than being, held at gunpoint. I mean, it's But let's say, like, not even in America, like, people are willing to leave their countries when things get bad. We see this with the with mass immigration, and we see this with the border crossings. Like, sometimes things are so bad that you're willing or have to go to another country. You know what I mean? And we don't see that with America's leaving here because we're the best. There's no doubt about that. But we see it. Yeah, we see it with everything else, right? So would it be that weird if Canadians got to a point in 4, 6, 8 years where things are unaffordable? You know, where let's say the Green New Deal for them goes through and they can't have these cars, they can't afford them, they're taxed to oblivion, right? I mean, even our friends that are on the show, we're talking about the housing market, and it's insane. Yeah. It's insane. The taxing is insane, right? And so at some point, you can't do that.
There's a breaking point at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I would like to believe that people would just start fucking voting a different way. You know, like, you can only do this. What's the definition of insanity? Is repeating the same thing, expecting a different outcome.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're doing now.
Yeah.
You kept, I don't know who was before Trudeau, but you had Trudeau in there for a while, and you hated it. Now you're voting the same fucking guy. That could be fucking worse. You're insane.
Well,
and you think it's going to be any different? It's not going to be different. You're not going to have any more freedoms. You're going to have less, actually. He's already said that. Now you're not going to be able to drive any car you want anymore.
If that's true, yeah. Yeah. I think, like, what's being reported when you look at, you know, like, I'm on BBC right now, and they're saying his top 5 pledges is double home building rates, which might be crazy if people are going to leave eventually. You know what I'm saying? Ease cost of living. All right. Carney's party has also vowed to scrap sales tax on homes under $720,000 for the first-time home buyers. So there may be things in there that are, you know, you could argue is good. Build a national electricity grid. A massive hike in defense spending.
They don't already have a national electricity grid? Or is it like every province has its own thing?
The Liberals have vowed to maintain the push on reducing emissions as part of the fight against climate change while ensuring Canadian companies are still competitive. Carney has promised to build a national east-to-west electricity grid to reduce energy dependency on the U.S.
Climate change is real.
Yeah.
There's a study that came out a little while ago that Antarctica, or was it the Arctic or Antarctica or whatever?
Yeah.
Actually gained more ice this year.
Yeah.
So it went the other direction.
Yeah, listen, I will say this for the Canadians. You should be dependent, kind of on your own. Independent, I should say. You should be an independent entity that controls everything, and you make your own energy and you make your own goods, just like we should, right? Like, that's what we're trying to do with the trade wars. How easy is that to do, though? You know, like a whole national power grid, east to west, like, especially for a country that's not producing like they produce. I don't know if it's reasonable to think that's going to happen.
I don't know all the logistics behind that. I don't know. Do they have? I'm assuming they have power plants and shit just like everybody else. Do they export energy or do they import a lot of energy? I'm not sure on that, but I assume for the most part, they have their own electrical grid.
Yeah, but I think they bring in some. I think that's what they're saying is America supplies them quite a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's for the Canadians to figure out. But somebody did say something. Somebody yelled something at the speech. I thought was interesting, and it makes me wonder: was he involved with something he shouldn't have been involved with? If you go to my videos, the one that you were going to play, listen to what this person yells right here. It might be a little late. Yeah, there you go.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
Honnêtement. Honnêtement.
What did he say there, Chris?
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
Are people just throwing that out now?
I don't know. Was he on the flight logs?
I have no idea.
I mean, he was, he's been in a couple countries. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. I feel like people just say that about everybody now at this point. You're like, oh, he's fine. How many people did you molest? There's so many people to get thrown onto that bus.
Okay.
What?
Well, apparently there's an image of him, and they're saying that it is AI. This is what we talked about before. Reuters fact check: image of Carney, Maxwell, and Hanks on a beach is likely AI, says experts. Image showing Canadian Mark Carney with Jeffrey Epstein in a pool.
Where are you finding this?
Is not authentic. Likely AI. Look up Carney with Maxwell. And I see this image here.
This one?
Yeah. Is that AI?
It's blurry. It's definitely blurry.
Is it AI? What do you think?
I don't know.
What do you think, guys? You got it up? The only thing
I'm not seeing anything right off the bat. Right here. That makes it weird.
What?
Right above his shoulder. Like, where's that top of the chair coming from?
It's hard to say. The coloration's pretty good, though. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Like
I'm just saying, like, this chair he's in doesn't have a top like that, and it's way too far over.
Okay.
So that could be weird.
Look up Carney Epstein. They say there's a photo of him in a pool.
In a pool?
Apparently. Let's see. I'm not sold on that. I'm not sold
That
on
one looks like it could be.
But
just on that one.
It's not a
thing,
bad
though.
one, though. You know what I'm saying? Look at the hands, dude. That's what, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
the hands are right. But
Yeah, hands
AI
are
is
right.
getting better, so I don't know.
Not that much better.
It is getting pretty good.
Not
I mean,
that much
we
better.
just seen like all the fucking baby videos going around.
What's that right there? What's that top one?
Liberals are not bothered by Carney associated with Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, they might show the picture, though. You know what I'm saying? What's it say? Go up there. Click play on that. How long is it?
It's 10.5 minutes.
Oh, Jesus. I'm not. No way.
I'm not seeing a picture with him. No, I'm not seeing one. There's another one with him and Maxwell.
See, everybody's saying it's fake.
That one's not fake. That one doesn't look fake to me.
Is that even her, though?
Yeah, I don't know. Could be.
Wouldn't that be wild? Oh, here's...
That could. I don't know. That kind of looks like her, I guess.
Yeah, this Epstein one does look kind of fake. Yeah, it looks fake. It's definitely fake.
It's definitely fake.
Yeah, there's a hand that's mutated in the back. Look at that.
Oh yeah, it's just like this.
Yeah. You know,
Who knows?
he
This
did
is what
kind
I'm
of
saying.
shrug it off.
This is
you know
what I'm
what I
saying.
mean?
Like, there's going to be anyone that anyone doesn't like. There's going to be rumors made up,
Oh, for sure.
and then now that this kind of AI exists,
yeah.
there's going to be fake shit thrown everywhere,
Yeah, which
which
makes
is
it hard.
which is a problem.
Makes it hard.
Which goes to that whole fucking thing we were talking about before on a past episode, where that could be an excuse that's going to be thrown around, and it's going to, like, there's going to be difficulty, and it's going to take time to decipher what is true and what's not true.
Or,
And there's going to have to be steps put in place to make that happen.
but we can also just do what we just did, right? I see this thing where somebody yells something about Epstein.
Yeah.
We look up the image, and you go, you know, like, you can't just go at it and go, definitely.
Well,
real.
yeah, use your
That
own
shit's
fucking...
real. Yeah, I mean, I think you can look at we just looked at the pool picture. We didn't show it on the thing.
I
But,
can't find it on here for some reason.
well, probably because it's about removed. But the point is like when you see it, it doesn't look.
Oh,
there
there
it
it
is.
is.
It doesn't look real, and her hand is.
The water actually looks fake too, a little bit.
Oh man, I mean that hand might be real. You know what I'm saying?
That hand is not real.
Well, here's the problem though.
That motherfucker is not real.
Here's the problem though, man. It's in water. You know, water mutates that shit.
Ah,
It's definitely real, 100%. It's a real photo, dude.
water doesn't mutate.
Well,
The hand's not even in the water.
I know. I'm fucking with you. I mean, maybe like
This chick looks fake. Where's her arm?
it's behind her, dude.
She doesn't even have an arm. It goes into a black bar. That one is fake.
That one looks fake. That one looks because the water line is so, would be normal, right? The water line, but it just looks like a good cutoff point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if somebody else was in that photo, that water line across his chest is the perfect spot to put a photo of him from a beach trip that he took. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't buy this one. The other one now, the other one's a little more convincing. I will say
Going
that.
with Hanks and
Yeah, that's a little more convincing, dude. You know, that's a little bit like the coloration is pretty solid on that. But here's the thing, it could all be fake. The problem is you gotta look at it, and you also have to be honest, and you have to say, because you know, this is the thing. Just looking it up a second ago, people are sharing it and posting it, and talking about. I mean, if you're just honest, you go like, that's interesting. It's interesting. Like, it probably's fake. But it's also put you on your toes a little bit. Maybe you look a little deeper down a real, true rabbit hole that's worth looking into. And I think over time, this guy's new. I think over time, we're going to have a lot of people that really dig into
it wouldn't
his past.
surprise me honestly, if that was true, it wouldn't surprise me. Him being an big time banker guy, it wouldn't surprise me if there was some kind of involvement
That's
that
true.
you know about.
That's true, dude. He was in financial shit.
Yeah. He was like one of the head people at some central bank in Europe or something like that, right? Or something like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was some kind of 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon going on.
Well, I see the thing with the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon is that it takes, you know, two people, and then it kind of has they did a movie together at some point.
Yeah.
This is like if that was real, which I'm definitely not saying it's real. That's more of like, oh, they might have actually had a relationship of some kind, like not just a passing by kind of thing, like an actual.
No.
I feel like when you say the 7, I think what I'm saying is when you do that whole Kevin Bacon thing, it sounds obscure a little bit. You know what I mean?
It
like
can be,
it
but
can
also
be.
He could just be the guy that approved an account knowing who Jeffrey Epstein was.
Very possible. Very possible. And it's also
and that's the same shit. What's that bank here was like getting investigated for? I don't even remember who it was now.
Also, is it not extremely convenient that it's like Tom Hanks and Maxwell? And,
Well, yeah, right.
Like
Come on.
the Hollywood guy, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
true. What are the odds?
I don't want to believe that Tom Hanks. I don't want to believe it, dude. I do. I really like Tom Hanks. His movies are incredible. I that one will be the one. Like if for whatever reason it came out in 5 years, 10 years, and he was arrested or some shit, I would be heartbroken. Like Kevin Spacey, he's already kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
he diddles people and shit.
He was a weird guy.
He probably would. He comes across like he would. You know, there's the Masterson. That was a little, but he's not like as big. You know what I mean? Like the Kevin, what was in the Masterson, that 70s show?
Yeah.
You're like, oh wow, he did that. That guy? I mean, shit. Okay. But Hanks,
he wasn't doing kids though.
No. Yeah,
he just
was
did
not.
an underage girl,
But Tom
and he wasn't. I mean,
Forrest, man. I don't want to believe it.
Toy Story.
They're gonna have to like upgrade the Forrest Gump movie. You know what I'm saying? Like Forrest Gump 2025, and it's gonna, you know, the fucking Jen Knight, she dies. You know what I'm saying? And his boy gets bigger, and then he
Finds out his dad was a pedophile.
and then he diddles kids. He goes to jail.
Oh,
The
God.
fortune's gone. You know what I'm saying? That would be. Listen, there are select people that if I found out that happened, I would be devastated.
Well, yeah.
Just because I'm like, man, I grew up watching it, and it would be. And listen, it's easy. These Hollywood people, man, like it's easy to go after them. I'll say that. I think a lot of them, majority of them, are really crooked. I think we can agree on that, in some aspect or another. Some worse than others, but all are very self-motivated to do things to make themselves bigger.
Yeah.
I just don't want to believe that he would be one. And it's also like, why would you come out and defend yourself? Let's hypothetically say that he didn't ever do anything, and people are making these rumors. Like, why acknowledge him even? Right? You're just like, oh, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? You would be like, fuck, piss off. You know what I mean? Like, these people are
You
nuts.
mean why acknowledge the rumors?
Yeah, because I've heard people say, like, why won't he come out and talk about it? And it's like, why would you? Because it sounds, kind of quacky in its own way. And like, if people
it's a double-bladed sword. It's like you can come out and fucking defend yourself, and by paying attention to it, people may think you're guilty just because you're on edge about it.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, if you don't say anything and you're quiet, people are going to think you're guilty because you're not saying anything about it.
I think I'd rather be in that seat, because I feel like by acknowledging it, you're allowing people to, or you're showing people that you're slightly concerned by it, because you're so concerned that you have to say something about it. You know what I'm saying? And if you're like, dude, I'm Tom Hanks, man. I'm Tom Hanks. Like, what the fuck? Who said that? Oh, fucking Conspiracy Bob 74. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Guy's
Like,
legit.
guy's legit, dude. I mean, Greg follows him for sure.
Conspiracy Bob.
Conspiracy Bob 74. And I'm sorry if that's a real person out there. It's totally made up. I just, I don't know, man. I've been on the fence of this whole thing. And listen, I'll give Carney enough that I want to hear what he has to say more. It's not my country. At the end of the day, it is what it is. But
Yeah, not my country.
Not
Don't
my
really
country.
give a fuck at that.
But and I also don't want to jump the gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's fake. Maybe there's more to it, but I don't like it. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? But the whole thing, like everything, we kind of talked about a couple episodes ago, man. There's just a lot of shit that I'm starting to like look at, and I'm just like, I don't understand why this hasn't come out. Like, why is the Epstein stuff not come out? Why, like we went really deep years ago on this stuff about all these people and the connections, the possible connections. And some of us were more skeptical than others, for sure.
Yeah.
In this particular group of three of us, right? But I'm like, I still to this day, I'm just like, man, I wonder if it even really happened at all. Like in that aspect. What would be the alternative? Like, I haven't seen a lot of people talking about the alternative. All right.
Like if it's not true.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing.
Or if the scope of it isn't as big or as wide as people think it was.
I find it ironic as a person who, like, listen, I love conspiracies. I love the idea of what people think may be happening, because I think there's plenty of videos that make you, even if you're not 100% on board, there's a lot of videos that make you go like, oh, that's an interesting connection.
Yeah.
And it may be nothing, but it sends you down the right path to something. And I like that. I really like that. And I think that there's a lot of conspiracies that obviously have came true, which makes you have to look at all and say there's a chance.
Yeah.
I think that's legitimate. What's interesting is, like, even on the show, conspiracy theorists in general, they always are saying, well, it's a psyop. It's a setup by the government. If somebody gets in trouble, it's like they're doing it on purpose to X, Y, and Z. Trump is allowing this to happen so that he can get this into court, so that he can, and there's always these crazy, maybe true, maybe not true trails of like, this is happening because of this.
Yeah.
And it's like the opposite of that is like with Trump, for example. Trump's guilty. You know what I mean? Like, we talk about all these things and he's allowing this to happen for X, Y, or he could be guilty, like, right? Like he could have done some pretty dumb shit. But then when it comes to like the Epstein, I don't see a lot of people talking about the alternative, which would be, did they frame him and set this up to do something, right? Like, let's flip the script, I guess I'm saying. Was this a ploy to like eliminate Hollywood people, to eliminate certain people in the political party, to eliminate a guy who had finances or control over finances? Is that possible too? You know what I'm saying? Is that possible too? Was he a threat to somebody else in the same game, and they wanted to eliminate him because of that?
Maybe. I mean, that's a possibility. But even if that was true, that wouldn't negate all the other stuff.
What other stuff? See, that's
Like
the
all
thing,
the
though.
involvement.
But see,
Like
here's,
if somebody was like, oh, he's a threat to my business, we need to expose his fucking shit and get him taken out.
yeah.
But that wouldn't necessarily make the involvement of certain people untrue.
It may or may not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But my question, it just makes me think, because I listen to what Greg talks about, and like strange Shauna clips, and I'm not really into it. I'm just not. I'm not into that deep of shit. I don't buy it. I just don't. I'm gonna be straight up. I don't buy it. I think there's some things that are interesting, but like, you lose me after a while. When I start scrolling through and I see some theories, I'm just like, oh, yawn, dude. Like, okay, how crazy can we get this? Now the problem is, and we've said this before, there's some truth to this stuff, but sometimes I feel like they want people to share this and get crazier because then it delegitimizes what's true.
Well, yeah, that's what controlled opposition is.
Right. So like, it's like you're saying it's Alex Jones vibes, right? Like he says it and he's not wrong. He's like, the frogs are gay.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's true.
But the context in which he says it.
But he goes off on a tangent and you're just like, oh, you're crazy. You're a little crazy. And sometimes you got to be a little crazy or like be loud and be like, to get people's attention. And I think Alex Jones, for example, has served his purpose. I think that he got people's attention and got them looking. But
at the same time, I mean, it takes only a few things to come together to make a lot of it fucking true. And any of us 10, 15 years ago, if you would have said anything like this to any of us, we'd all looked at you and said, dude, you're fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. You're insane. There's a huge fucking global fucking thing going on, and all these fucking people are involved, and it could be this or it could be that, and then he's gonna get captured, and how all this went down so far. Yeah. If that would have been explained to anybody 15 years ago, you'd have been, you're fucking nuts.
I want to be very clear, just so like people listen. I do believe that Epstein is a pedophile. I do.
Well, yeah.
Like, pretty deep into me, I'm like, that guy did some fucked up shit.
You're just saying, what if it's not all those fucking people that have been said to be involved?
I think we can't be hypocritical. And I'm not saying we as in this podcast. I'm just saying people can't be hypocritical. I think it's like, when you have like Trump, for example, or name it, right? Where all these women all of a sudden come out of nowhere and they're saying like, oh yeah, he touched me at a bar 22 years ago. And it's like, okay, where was that 10 years ago? Like, let's say that you were too embarrassed at the time, but where was it 12 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago when Trump first got elected? Like, but it all of a sudden comes out of the woodworks, right?
Yeah.
And then you see like Kevin Spacey. Name any of them, really. Because like once one does and they all of a sudden there's 20 people. Okay. So it's like, I think it's healthy to say, is this a hit? Right? Is it coordinated? Did they really do it? Or is it a hit? For some reason, right? And we do that with anybody that we like, right? Yeah. If it's somebody we like and we're like, oh man, it just doesn't make all these people at one time. Like, what is it? It sounds funny. It sounds weird. I'm just saying, what bothers me about Epstein is we haven't seen much. They gave us this like list of people supposedly that's been on the plane, but where's the camera footage on the plane? And the FBI raided the house, and there's supposed to be all this evidence of like Hillary Clinton fucking sucking off fucking old robot guy. I don't know, you know what I mean? But there's supposed to be all these videos and this blackmail. Okay, where? Yeah. Like, I want you to really think that for a second, man. Or just think in general. And I'm not talking about this could be fake shit. I'm saying, what if you went to court right now and you said, what proof do you have that it happened? It legitimately happened. You had these witnesses. One just killed herself.
Yeah.
Why did she kill herself? Seriously.
I don't know.
You went through all the trauma?
Know, unless she was just losing her mind. But then you have the other side of people saying that it wasn't actually her and she was taken out. Mm. Or it was like a fucking what's the fucking witness protection shit? Like if she was to actually get in to a legitimate case and things were happening and she gave her testimony and it was to be truthful, I don't fucking know. I mean, witness protection is a thing, but I don't necessarily think
But why now?
that is it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you went through all this trauma with supposedly like Prince Andrew and significant figures, right? At a young, vulnerable age. And this is a decade plus later. And it's like, you went through all of that. You fought this hard fight.
Got out of it. Got
a
married, family, got all this shit, and then all of a sudden you're just like,
bleh.
actually, you know what? I was used by Jeffrey Epstein.
I just feel like it's weird. Maybe I'm just a little off on it, but I feel like you would fight this fight till the very fucking end because you want justice and because you knew other people. And here's the thing. I'm absolutely not saying that something didn't happen. I'm not saying that she's lying. I'm not saying that the other girls are lying. All I'm saying is like, what if?
Well, you're questioning everything.
What if
you're looking at everything from different angles?
What if he just had an island and he was a very rich guy who was kind of creepy? This is just a what if.
Real creepy.
Real creepy. He had this island. He partied like a motherfucker. Celebrities were there. And people decided, like Michael Jackson or something, they want to get some money out of this dude. You know what I'm saying? What if a political party said, oh, there's a lot of Democrats on there, or hey, there's a lot of Republicans on there, or like whatever it may be. We should pursue this. Let's put something out there. Let's leak a little shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We would do that, I think, for other situations, and I don't know really why we have it. And if there was video, it just, I don't know, man. I'm shocked that there's not more.
The only thing that I come back to is, and it's irritating to even have to say this, because I've said it before, but they're not going to release anything if there's ongoing investigations. And that sucks. Because they could always say that.
Yeah.
But then you have to think at the same time, Epstein got put away and was dead years ago. Mm-hmm. Maxwell got put away a couple years ago now. Why hasn't anything happened in the last couple of years? And it's the same fucking bullshit though. Oh fuck.
That's a party foul.
Damn it.
That's a puddle.
I don't even have anything to clean that up.
Suck it up, dude.
Then my brain goes, okay, a couple years ago, there was 0 people in any positions that would even touch this. Depending on who's involved and who it's affecting, I feel
like that's a scapegoat, man. I really feel like that's a scapegoat.
I honestly don't think anybody working under the Biden administration would ever do anything about it.
But see, here's the problem. And listen, I'm not going to disagree with you. I understand where you're coming from, and I think it's coming from a good place. But that is so easy to say. It's so easy to say because
I know, and that's why I said it sucks, because it is easy to say that. And you're just like, oh, fuck, whatever, dude. But at the same time, like, there was people working around the clock on undermining him, making all these decisions I guarantee he wasn't fucking making. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was people in positions that were involved in any of this that weren't going to fucking let this happen. And my only hope is that we're getting to the point where there may be people in positions that are going to do something about this, but we're just early. That's my only hope right now.
I know, but I just can't get on board. And the reason I can't get on board with it is, dude, it's been too fucking long. I'm just being honest. It's been too fucking long. She's been in jail. Okay. But it's not just Maxwell and Epstein, dude. It's everybody else that's been involved. Again, that's so easy. Who's everybody else? Right?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying though. And I'm not disagreeing.
It's fucking how many times Like, there isn't any investigation on how many times Clinton has been to the island. He's on that fucking list of
But like,
billion times.
I know, but here's the thing. Clinton, at this point, like, I mean, is his fan base really there? I mean, come on, man.
I think it has
Like,
anything to do with fan base.
I think it does, because like, what if he went down? What does that say? It says nothing about the modern party. Every person in the Democratic Party, just like in Hollywood, right? If Masterson goes down, all these people support him. Like, I don't think he did it, and he's found guilty.
Yeah.
All they have to do is go, I had no idea. I had no idea he did that. And like, it's that easy. The Democrats would just say, Bill Clinton is a terrible example of a Democrat. He touched women. We now found the evidence that he had done this.
Well, then you'd go, okay, then why wasn't this case looked into while it was under your purview?
Because they would just say we had no real evidence that it was. That's the problem. There isn't, like,
But then
there's no real evidence of it.
they have real evidence of it.
Who does?
The FBI and the Department of
Maybe.
Justice.
But see, that's the problem. Here's the problem. And I'm just doing this because I like this. I like this back and forth. The problem is who have you heard that from? There was supposedly a giant raid on the island.
From the current leaders of those administrations.
There's a giant.
This is all I have to go on.
I know. But I'm saying
hope.
question, right? I was just watching the other day of somebody that posted a video that says, this is Epstein's island when they did the raid. And I was watching this video of the supposed raid or them walking through the house after the raid. And I was just looking at it and I'm like, this looks really old.
Oh, that's a really old video. I've seen those.
And it just doesn't look.
Whereas like it like had old like 90s
doesn't look
TVs
right.
and like the old Rolodex phones and shit like that. That's an old. I've seen those videos.
Yeah.
They must be recirculating because those came out years ago.
Well, here's the thing though. It's so convenient to be like, the FBI has all this information. They raided it. They got all the books. They got all the tapes, my friend. But here's the thing. Look at what happened with Puff Daddy right now. What's going on right now? Mm-hmm. The Puff Daddy thing has been a couple months.
But his case is just starting.
There has been more coming out on Puff Daddy than I think we ever got on Epstein. Legitimate stuff.
It wouldn't surprise me if this doesn't lead into it.
I'm going to say no.
Not at all?
I don't think it will. No, I think this will be isolated.
His own fucking thing.
Yeah, I'm not into that. I just, listen, this is the one.
Well, you're not into what?
The one thing that is like a turnoff. It literally makes my penis go inside of me, right?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. I can transvestite immediately from this. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm a woman. You know what I mean? I'm joking. The thing that like turns me off, and the thing that I immediately I can't support, is that there's never an end to anything. Ever. If you like talk to somebody about something that even let's say you agree, right? You're like, that, I think that happened. Whatever that thing is, right? I think it happened. When it kind of comes out to like, ooh, maybe that didn't happen. Then they just immediately switch it. Well, it did happen. I know, but I know that didn't happen. Okay, but here's the thing. Like, that was on purpose because that happened. And then that's happening, right? I'm not, like, we live in a world where people are self-motivated to make themselves rich, make themselves powerful, right? And I do not believe that everything in Hollywood, that everything in the power system or the money system of the world are all tied. I feel like there is no reason to think that Epstein couldn't have been smart enough, with the help of friends, obviously, right, to like advance himself to a point where he had money and he was able to buy an island, and he was a fucking creep who preyed on women and had friends who were also wealthy and all this other stuff. And that was his little good boys club. You know what I'm saying? And there's no reason to think that Puff Daddy, who was also one of the richest rappers in the game for many, many years, who's got many, many contacts with people, who works with up and coming artists, who's worked with Jay-Z, all these other, why couldn't he just be on his own? And
I'm not saying he was working with Epstein. I'm not saying that I'm not saying the two things were one. I'm saying that this could lead into the other by way of opening the eyes of people into what could actually be happening.
We already know that it can happen.
We do.
People do.
Dude,
people
there's
know.
There's a lot of fucking people.
I know, but
that don't fucking pay attention to that kind of shit. and are very naive to the way the world works.
I'm with
the
you.
way the world actually is, and how violent and fucking nasty things.
But see, I don't care about them because those people, no matter what,
But that's
you
a
say,
lot. That's a lot of. That's
I know, but they don't matter.
at least half the fucking
They
population of the
don't
world.
matter because they don't like. Even if you smacked them in the face with it, they wouldn't care.
It does matter.
It doesn't matter.
It does.
Why?
Because in order to take care of it, people have to know about it.
No, see, here's the thing. That's like saying, in order for Trump to win, or in order for this to be the case, like the people who don't vote need to vote. Like that's not true, right? Like the people that are invested enough to vote, you have to just win those people who are invested over. The people that don't invest in voting and don't give a shit about anything, who cares about them, right?
No, you have to win them over too.
Yeah, I understand that, but you have to win the likely voters over. That's like the Democrats go after the young generation. They just
But
don't
that's
vote.
what I'm saying. The likely voters are already won. In this situation, the voters are the people that understand. Those people are already won over.
What do you mean by won over?
They already understand and know what's going on.
Yeah, so why do we need the others?
Because it's a huge fucking part of the population.
Yeah, but why do they need to know? Like, because they're, even if you said like, yep, Epstein did it. Like here's the video, right?
Because if Epstein shit comes out and there are people that they have been voting for over and over and over again involved in that, that'll change the way you're thinking, and maybe you'll look into people a little more.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't because I feel like it's such an easy out. That's why I feel like they'd be like, yeah, well, damn, he was a real piece of shit. And he's won. You know what I'm saying? That's like saying if that cop is found guilty of killing that innocent man, well, then that proves that all cops are bad. No, you go, well, that was a shitty cop. Pretty shitty cop, dude. That doesn't mean that cop's bad. And they would say the same thing about Hollywood. P. Diddy's bad. Doesn't mean Jay-Z's bad. It doesn't mean so-and-so's bad.
So how does that explain all the other side of the back to blue thing? If one cop is fucked up and kills a dude, now you have 30 to 40% of the fucking population hating all cops.
I don't think that 30-40% hate cops.
I'm not saying it's that number either. I'm just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. If it's just one guy going, oh, that's a bad cop. That's not how it was. That's this one cop did something fucked up, and now they hate all cops.
Yeah, but those people that are willing to listen to something and immediately just their whole life changes because of that thing, those are people that are going to be unreliable people, right? They may be on Epstein, like, oh, and they start. I mean, that's just a modern protester, really, right? Like they're protesting for this person this week, and when that dies, they quit protesting that and they move over to the next.
But it's not only fucking who you're supporting and who you're voting for and who all that shit. It would change how everything operates.
But see, my question would be why do we believe that would be the case?
That it would change how
I just think
operates?
that I think we undervalue how much people care about themselves and their life. And most people, we have many friends who don't give a shit about any of this at all. We know people like that. They're just like, fuck, dude, I'm just trying to work, bro. I'm trying to get laid. Fuck it. You know what I mean? You're not going to change them. You never will. I mean, you could come out and say the whole government has fucked kids, and they'd be like, am I going to get a fucking paycheck next week? Like, that's the extent of it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, they're all fucking crooked anyways. They come up with something like our buddy Tex would just be like, fucking all politicians are bullshit. Well, we know that's not true, but he just doesn't give a fuck. He cares about, like, is he going to get his money? Is he going to have a house over or a roof over his head? We can't devalue that the most people, like, even if we went to Tex and said, dude, here's the video, man. Like, look at this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He would just be like, I mean, okay. You know? And that's how a lot of people are.
I think that's getting less and less people like that, though.
But here's my thing. If Epstein came out tomorrow, right? If they for whatever reason got re-energized, and tomorrow we wake up and the news says all the information came out. Mm-hmm. Okay, and there's let's say it's just middle of the road, right? Like there's some bad shit, there's some stuff that's been overvalued, But it's pretty bad. Like Puff Daddy, you know, like there's a lot of victims and there's people that contributed to it and yada yada. I mean, what really happens? What really happens? I mean, Maxwell might get a longer sentence. You know what I'm saying? Bill's just gonna die soon. You know what I mean? Is he really gonna go to jail? Like
I would hope so.
I know, but let's say he does. Let's say he goes to jail and
Because
Hillary goes to
if
jail.
it was anybody else, if it was me and you, and something came out years later, and that we did that kind of shit, we'd for sure be going to jail.
I agree. But I'm just saying, let's say he's guilty. Let's say Hillary's guilty. Let's say Bill Gates is involved. He's guilty too, right? And Prince Andrew, he's guilty too. Let's say they're all guilty. The evidence is right there, man. Smacks us in the face. What changes? You know, they're going to say, no, guys, you know, I mean, listen, there's a lot of people in the government. You know, we try to find the bad ones, and we got them this time. And people are going to go, yeah, old Bill Clinton. You know what I'm saying? Old Bill Gates. Yeah, crazy, man. I never knew.
I would have a feeling it would have a bigger impact than that.
But see, that's what I'm curious about.
I can't predict the future,
Yeah.
and how people are going to react and what circumstances are going to play out depending on what outcomes happen.
Yeah.
But I think if something like that was to happen, and all these huge, high-profile, influential fucking people in government and local governments and society was to go down for something like that, that'd have an impact.
But we have people go down for shit all the time. Just in small scales, right? We have this person gets in trouble. You find out this person killed a person. This person raped somebody. And you just go like, damn it, we just did. I mean, we just talked about it. We with, what's his face, you know? Spacey, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's a significant actor, bro.
Yeah.
Okay? Love his movies.
Now, had a big impact on, like,
Did it? Or did
think so.
did we all just go, damn it, man? Kevin Spacey, fuck. You know, like I think that's the extent. I really do. I think we're valuing it too much. I mean, look at Red Hot Chili Peppers, man. The guy came out with a book. Anthony Kiedis, or whatever the fuck his name. He came out with a book talking about fucking minors.
yeah.
A fucking biography. And he's like, fuck, yeah, dude. I was fucking this 15-year-old. And then she told me she was 15. I said, let's fuck one more time before I did. And they're still performing. They're still selling out shows. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I think they just played at the fucking, was it the Oscars or the Grammys or
yeah,
something?
whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they played at the Fire Aid in California. My point is like, does it change? I mean, really, does it change? And we think because there's more of a number, all we would say is like, man, like that's. I think the average person, if you're really being honest with yourself, the average collective would just be like, man, that's fucked up, dude. Like that's really fucked up.
There's got to be change. Like if it came out on a bigger scale, and like the Hollywood thing, there has to be some kind of fucking change to happen.
But give me an example what a positive change would be. Hollywood, let's say a bunch of actors and some musicians and maybe a couple politicians. Like what would anybody say that would be like that's good change? Like what would you say? Believe more women?
No, I think there would definitely have to be some kind of accountability to children in Hollywood. How many kids are fucked up when they're child stars and then they're fucked up? They're not fucked up just because they're famous.
What's that have to do with Epstein though? Because most of the people that were making claims on the Epstein thing were not child actors or actresses. They were just women. They were just girls who were offered opportunity and then they got...
Well, individual people, adults by themselves doing weird shit with Epstein, that's just going to affect their public image.
But there's no evidence that like Epstein did things with child actors, right? Like that's more of a Puff Daddy thing.
Yeah.
But what I'm asking you
mostly
though.
musicians,
Like
not necessarily
specifically,
actors, but...
they come out and they say, hey, you know, all these are all the lists of people, man. We got 30 people that were at Epstein Island in all variations, right? So it's like Tom Hanks even, right? Tom Hanks and Bill Clinton and fucking X, Y, and Z, right? There's these people. They're all found guilty. Hypothetically. They're all guilty. Like what do you change? We got to really watch these parties more. You know, like what do you change? Like Hollywood and the amount of people they're going to do things. They're going to have clubs and underground societies and shit. And the only thing I think would change is we should be more mindful of what people are doing, or maybe like if we see photos of parties that are suspicious, like we should probably look into it more.
Yeah.
But like what is the policy change? Like, what's the policy change? Like, we have corrupt politicians all the time, man.
Yeah.
That like have rape allegations that are taken out. They resign over shit. You know what I'm saying? We have fire chiefs that are molesting children. I mean, you know, and they resign, and teachers, they resign, they move on. You don't even hear about them again. Like,
I think there mostly has to be a better investigative process and a follow through. I think that would have to be one of the outcomes of it. Like if these rumors were going on forever and it turns out, oh shit, they were all true, we didn't do our fucking job at all.
sure. That's the one thing I think could be something that could be said, that you have to take it more seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
But
That's not just Hollywood and music industry and shit. That's everywhere. That's politicians. That's government fucking officials. That's fucking anybody. I feel like if that kind of shit, it's the same thing with fucking all the insider trading that was happening inside Congress and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's been being complained about and talked about for a couple of years now. Like, how has that not been a focus of investigation and accountability? It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
I think once chips start falling and things are getting looked into and people start going down for it, I think then that's going to change the direction of a lot of different things. Not necessarily one thing happening and then they make this one rule and everything's gone. I think the attacking that specific thing and having accountability is going to naturally change the trajectory of what's happening.
I hope you're right. I don't believe you're right. I just don't, because
we'll see.
I know. But I just want to think, like, we all understand that people are individuals and they go down for individual things. And like, I honestly think that, like, when you look at just everything, I mean, look at any case that's ever been put through the court system of the most heinous crimes of all different things, right? Mm-hmm. They're just people who are fucked up and do terrible shit. You know what I'm saying? And like, I think that what makes this seem grander, which is if it's real, it's so terrible, right? Like, the idea that many people could be together doing such crappy things to people. But like, if you take away all the speculation part of it, the stuff that we don't know is actually true or not.
Yeah.
The reason that
a lot to go on. Yeah.
There is. And the reason that it seems so much worse just because we don't know is that we think there's more involvement from bigger sources. But there's really not any evidence that there is more involvement from bigger sources. Like, Prince Andrew is his own. Like, the kingdom, you know, England and stuff are corrupt. We know this. Like, a lot of things that are corrupt. But like, he's going to, like, just because he's in the royal family doesn't mean he's not privy to being a fucking fuck up and a fucking creep or a sex addict or any of those things, right? Or a drug addict. I mean, we've seen people that are all those things, and it doesn't mean that the England's in on it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that the government's in on it or that Soros, like, you know what I'm saying? It gets to a point where it's just like, man, come on. I mean, listen, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is that deep. Maybe the cabal, you know, but it's like, also, it's like, it could just be a huge trafficking scheme that got busted. And
I believe both. I believe both things. I think there are individual factions of all of these things happening at once, but I also do believe there are multiple people or multiple groups that are sharing ideas to accomplish the same goal. Yeah. I think there are both things happening at once.
I think Puff Daddy, I know we're wrapping up. I think Puff Daddy is going to be the more significant case.
Oh, yeah.
Not
at
that,
least it's going to be the next OJ for sure.
Hopefully. I hope it is.
I think it is.
Except not the outcome. I hope it is, right?
Well, yeah. I think the publicity of it is going to be the next OJ.
Yeah, because the Epstein thing is terrible, if true. And the Puff Daddy thing, the reason that that's going to be changing is that so many young people know the names that they're going to say. And they're relevant today. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're relevant names to today's music scene. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows Jay-Z. Everybody knows Puff Daddy. Everybody knows all those rappers and all the fucking pop stars and everything else is involved. Beyonce's and all this shit.
Yeah, that'll hit different.
It will. And I think if you're talking about real change, what we were talking about a minute ago, this is where I'll wrap it up for me. I think that's going to have an effect. Will it change anything? No, probably not. I think people will still go listen to music but I think it'll at least get people to go, Hollywood is pretty fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you shouldn't put your kids in the shit. Maybe you should watch your kids if they're coming up in the music industry or in the... Because I think a lot of parents are still naive of that. There's a lot of great documentaries that talk about it, but I think parents are naive about how bad that whole scene can be. And that would definitely open the door and make it, hey, you know, Jay-Z, that guy you like? Yeah, he was butt fucking kids, dude. You know what I mean? Maybe he wasn't. I'm just... But you get my point, right? You say that and they're going to go, what? Like Jay-Z, he's like one of the best rappers of all time. He's
I think
not.
I think
he
the
is at
shock value is gonna change the
Yeah.
the idolization dynamic, at least temporarily.
Could be just a shortcoming, you know. I mean, it could be like
who knows?
Flash in the pan, and a new party's happening right there too. You know,
Who knows?
It's a good conversation,
it's
man.
Gonna be.
I think it's a conversation that has to be had. All right. When do we just go like nothing's gonna happen? We need to accept that.
When I will accept it when this administration is gone and nothing has happened.
So 4 years.
Yep.
A long fucking time. I might accept it after midterms. Because if they're not going to push this and they're not going to go after it 2 years in, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Is there really anything there? I mean, Jesus,
True,
they
true.
admitted that JFK was killed.
True.
And what's changed, my friend? Nothing.
No, we'll see.
Trump's still getting shot at, bro.
We'll see.
You know what I mean?
Because all the hype is around this 4 years.
Yeah.
If nothing actually goes down in this 4 years,
You give up?
then
You give up on it?
it was all bullshit.
Dude, cheers to that. I'm with you. We'll make that. I'm with you on that.
Because it's going to be a quick 4 years.
It will be.
It will be.
Guys, we hope you have a great Monday. Hope you have a great week ahead. We have shows Wednesday and Friday. We're going to see if we can make those shows. We got some schedule changes.
We do got some schedule changes.
We got some schedule stuff that we're going to see this week, but we'll let you know. We'll give you a heads up. Be safe out there. You know what I mean? Hang out with your loved ones.
Yeah.
Don't worry about politics all the time. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the weather. Enjoy your family.
It's almost summertime.
Hopefully Greg's got his dishwasher done.
Well, we'll see.
Cheers, you guys.
Later.